Our next contest of the Better Photography Weekly Challenge is Emotions. Our judge and mentor is Paromita Chatterjee. A documentary photographer based out of Kolkata, Paromita has a natural affinity towards women's issue, gender identity, environmental concerns, or anything under the socio-political spectrum. She says that her camera is her talisman that helps her tide over the undercurrent of ridicule for being a woman working in a man's field. Over the course of her career, Parumita's work has been published in various national and international publications, such as The Hilka Magazine, The Wire, The Hindu, BBC, and Al Jazeera. Hi, Parumita.
Hi, thank you, Nilofer, for such a wonderful introduction. And hello, everyone. I am here to speak about this theme, emotion. So, emotion, the most important is the most important element in photography. One thing that makes a great photo is its ability to convey emotion. Now, not just photo, maybe it can be any form of art. Emotion in photograph or any work of art is something that helps a viewer to connect to the picture. Is something that remains with the viewer forever. Now, emotion is very subjective thing. It may vary from person to person. A person may react to any picture differently. It Our emotional state has the largest impact on emotional quality of our pictures or our photographs. Like to share a quote by Don Macklin. He says that photography for me is not looking, it's feeling. If you can't feel what you are looking at, then you are never going to get others to feel anything when they look at your pictures. So, as I said, our emotional state has the largest impact on emotional quality of our pictures. Uh, this is very important when we take pictures. Not always we feel very personal. It depends heavily on our mood. When we are doing our job, it's okay to be professional, but it also reflects our feeling, our thought reflects on those pictures, on those photographs. So this is why emotion is so important, not just the subject we are photographing, but also the photographer, for the photographer. I'll start by showing some iconic pictures of some legendary photographers. Some of They're my favorites. I'll start with this picture of migrant mother of Dorothea Lange. We all know how this picture is so impactful. We know how iconic this picture has been, and how important this picture has been in history. As Dorothea Lange, who was an American documentary photographer, she was basically working as a photographer for resettlement administration in Nipomo, California. Uh, she was working on she was documenting the hardships of migrant farmers who had been driven west by the touring devastations of Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. While traveling, she encountered a 32-year-old hungry and desperate mother with 7 children. This is Florence Owen Thompson. She said, when she met her, she said that they had been living on frozen vegetables from the surrounding field and the birds that the children killed. Now, this picture became an icon of Great Depression. We can all see that hopelessness in her face, that emotion that Dorothea Lange basically tried to reflect. It was difficult for her as well. She was doing her job, but the emotion that she managed to bring in this picture is something very important, and something that we viewers have, something that has been portrayed, the hunger, poverty, hopelessness that has been endured by this person, by this mother, that has been, now we call it an iconic picture. So this is why, emotion is so important in every picture. So my next picture is basically, this is by Ilit Awit. Now, this is another iconic picture. Now, why I'm showing this picture? Because of that couple seen kissing here through the rear view mirror in the car. This has been taken in California by Elliot Albert. Now, he is known basically for his ability to capture unique human expressions, human expression of affection. So, we by looking at this picture, we get a huge sense of, you know, that beautiful background, that this affection in the mirror, affection between the two human beings, the couple. Definitely, Elliot, Mr. Orwell definitely managed to bring out such beautiful emotion. Obviously, he felt something. Although, as I said, emotion is very much subjective. Um, it depends on it varies from person to person. Mr. Irwin said once that he knew he had great pictures, but he discovered this picture 25 years later taking this. Now that means he says that he knew he had great pictures, but sometimes we don't know. So basically, that is how he never connected to it when he took that picture. But maybe later, when he discovered that he has this picture, this is something that immediately connected him, and he shared with us. And all now we all know how iconic this picture has become. Now the next picture is, we all know Raghurai's Mother Teresa. He photographed Mother Teresa for nearly 5 decades. He captured various aspects of Mother Teresa's work. He wanted the picture, as not only it would portray the sanctity of confession, but he tried to, when we were shooting Mother Teresa, she was very reluctant about being photographed while praying. Now, Mr. Rai, however, convinced her by he said that this picture would not only uh, portray the sanctity of confession, it would also show that the nuns were humans. They make mistakes, and they are always willing to accept their mistakes. Now this picture gives us the expression in her face, gives us a, a a character that gives, we know Mother Teresa is. Her expression is something portrays, sorry, her expression portrays here and defines her character throughout her life. So this is another iconic picture by Mr. Raghu Rai. So this is my next picture. This is one of the most heart wrenching pictures, at least I have seen so far. This has been taken by Taslima Akhtar. Uh, she's a Bangladeshi activist and photographer. Now, this picture is taken among the devastation of a collapsed Bangladesh garment factory, Rana Plaza, as we all know. Now, she says that I found a couple embracing each other in the rubble, the lower parts of their body buried under the concrete. The blood from the eyes of the man, ran like a tear. When I saw them, I couldn't believe it. I felt like I knew them. They felt very close to me. I looked at who they were in the last moments as they stood together and tried to save each other, to save their beloved lives. So as we see or look at this picture, we all know that we can't take this picture out of our mind. You know, this is the emotion that has been portrayed in this picture is something that will remain with us forever. This is a very haunting and yet a beautiful final embrace, they call the name of the picture. And and also the most this the saddest, the painful frame I have ever seen in my life. So yes, so this is another picture. It's one of my favorite photographer by Taslima Akhtar, who took this picture, and I think this picture will remain with us forever. And this this is the most haunting picture I've ever seen in my life. So you see, I said earlier that emotion is very something that can something that you know one thing that makes a great photo is its ability to convey emotion. Now this is a great photo, and we all know why it's a great photo. It can give us sleepless nights. So yeah, so this is why emotion makes a picture great and iconic. Now this is a picture taken by Orko Dotto. He's uh, a photojournalist based in India. Now, this picture was taken in Cuddalore, in Chennai, during tsunami. She is basically, as explained here, this is a lady who's mourning the death of her relative. So this image is by Shorkar Pratik. Uh, he is a photographer and a visual artist from Bangladesh. This story is of John and Prabha, his grandparents. John suffered from cancer and Prabha had strokes. They were not able to go out anymore because of the ailments. They were not for them. Everything was confined into one single room. This room, the space between the corners, dust on the walls, all were part of their existence. Okay, so John and Prabha basically live their lives with each other, like with like about 50 years of marriage after, like, when Prabha passed away. Now we can see the emotion between these two human beings, the way they have they're cuddling with each other, the way they have hugged each other. We can see a gamut of emotion, the love between these two people, these couple. And we don't sometimes we don't need to describe things. This picture is enough for us to understand the love between these two people. And this is another picture, another favorite picture of like mine, by Sharkar Pratik, and this beautiful project he did on his grandparents. Okay, this is another heart-wrenching picture, but by Atul Yadav. He is basically a chief photo correspondent of PTI, Press Trust of India. Now, we all know how during this last year, when the pandemic broke and our Prime Minister announced lockdown, we all know the plight of migrant laborers who like who were going home, but many of them were stuck due to restrictions by the government. So this is Ram Pukar Pandit. He was talking on the phone and sobbing uncontrollably when Atul Yadav found him. Uh, he was basically surprised at how a grown man can cry. Now, why he was crying? His son was unwell and might die, and he just wanted to go back home, but which was 12 kilometers away from Delhi and in Bihar, basically. And but however, police refused to let him go farther. He was broken and defeated. He was stuck there, stuck at Nizamuddin Bridge for 3 days in Delhi. So you know, this we sometimes we don't need composition right. You don't need to see those technical parts of photography. uh, this emotion, this the picture that gives us, it's very, I mean, look at this picture. I mean, this picture is extremely heartbreaking. It gives you a lot of information. It has no like always, you don't have to be technically correct. You don't have to follow all the rules, all the rule of thirds or anything. Sometimes a normal picture can give you lot of, emotion that can convey. And this is one of the examples by Atul Yadav, uh, where he took this picture. He himself, his grief shook him. And this picture became one of the iconic pictures in which defined how the plight of the migrant workers during lockdown last year, the sudden lockdown last year. And this picture conveys, portrays a lot of pain, because he was not sure if he'll be able to reach home, and which Mr. Yadav at the end of the day found that he lost his son later. But yes, so this is one of the iconic pictures. This will be remembered in history. uh, we all know why. Okay, so this is basically my father-in-law, and this picture is taken by my husband, uh, Ork Shankar Roy. He's a photographer based in Kolkata. Now, this picture, the you can see the expression of his face. This picture is taken during the lockdown. He's a 75-year-old man, and obviously he was confined within the four walls of his room. And suddenly, one fine day, they discovered that he was down with COVID-19. Now, when this entire scenario was happening, everybody was extremely uncertain that what is going to happen, whether he'll be able to go back, will be able to see his father again, or he was hospitalized. So now this picture has been taken after he came back from the hospital, and he was in the like he was isolating himself. He was recovering, he was doing well. But now doctor since the doctor was advising that he should be in some open space, so he had nothing to do. So he my husband, however, arranged a kite and for him, so that he could go that open space and find something recreational for himself. And obviously he was not that I mean, he was not ready to do that initially, because he was not sure uh, how to like do this. I mean, not how to do this. He was not sure if he's allowed to do so, because he was isolating himself. But we can all see that by his expression, we can all see the joy, the satisfaction that he has in his face. So when he managed to, however, fly the kite. So yes, this is one of the, I think this is again another important picture that will remain in my mind, because he's day by day, he's aging. And when he showed him this picture, he himself broke into laughter. So yes, so this is something, the emotion, this is very emotional for me and also for him. And why, we all know, we all were confined in our houses, and for a 75-year-old man, flying kite is something, is very hopeful for me. This picture gives a lot of hope. So yes. Now, this is Soumya Khandelwal's Child Brides of Sravasti. Now, this is another important picture that she's been doing this project like on child brides. Now, this project is about child brides, how she said that how young child brides are stripped of hopes and dreams because of the social evil. Here we can see a 14-year-old girl, Muskan, being dressed up for her marriage, surrounded by family and friends. till the day of their wedding of a wedding, there were arguments between the two families of for dowry. And the boy is studying in the first year of graduation, and she hoped to let her, to let her study after, even after marriage. So we can see the picture here, the emotion. It's a very emotional picture. We could see the family members surrounding her. She was full of uncertainty. She has no idea that she was what she was up to. And but she has somehow, I feel in this picture, she has somehow surrendered herself, as if she has no hope. She has no idea what she's like, what is there written in her future. But this picture is lot says lot about uncertainty. I think she has no idea that what is next. And yes, that hopelessness in her face is very much visible here in this picture. And this picture is again from the same project, from Child Brides of uh, Shravasti. Soumya says this is of um, Suman Nishad. At 11, she was married. Now, she didn't know of a marriage until Haldi ceremony took place. She felt a pang of fear for the unexpected that was to pursue. Her friends recall she would not stop crying. Despite that, she hasn't discussed her marriage to either with her family or friends. Now, secretly, she wishes that she could get to study some more. So this picture is again, in the previous picture we have seen there's a lot of hopelessness in her face. She has no idea what she was up to. And in this picture, we can see a little bit of hope, although she's we don't know how she was in, if she was in a lot of pain, or obviously she was married at the age of 11. And it was difficult, it might be a difficult, it is a difficult life for her, it was a difficult life for her. But in this picture she was sharing a light moment with the photographer, with Soumya here. Somehow gives us, uh, she somehow accepted the life she has been given. uh, she was happy in whatever little bit she has. She wishes though secretly to study more, but she managed to smile here. So this is a very heartwarming picture for me. Again, as I said, this is another emotional picture for me. So this picture is of Irom Sharmila, who Soumya photographed inside Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital in Imphal, uh, where she spent 16 years in custody of Imphal police on charges of attempt to suicide. As we all know, she was on hunger strike for 16 years, like for 5,757 days to be precise. Um, she was demanding the repeal of the Armed Forces of Special Powers Act in Manipur that gives the soldiers a right to kill, a license to kill. Um, the room here have the room she was sitting inside, we all giving a lot of it, adding context to the picture, like why she has been here confined within this room for 16 years. We can easily make out from the expression she has on her face that she ended her hunger strike on that particular day by having a little bit of honey. And we can see that if she don't know what is again there in her in the future. Although she finished her hunger strike, so she basically here sharing a moment with Soumya. And we could easily feel that, that exhaustion she has. She's absolutely exhausted after 16 years of hunger strike, which is not a matter of joke. uh, but this picture is another iconic picture, I feel, because this gives a lot. This will remain in our hearts because we have known Sharmila, Irom Sharmila in a way that she has always been in hunger strike. And finally, we have, with all the nasal pipes that we have seen, whatever pictures we have seen prior to this. But this picture is, I think, gives absolutely a different part of her and a little bit of life that she is sharing with us in this picture. Yeah. So, and I think this is a very sad picture. This, for me, this is a very sad picture. Okay. My next picture is by Dev Shubho. Now, Dev Shubho is a visual artist based in India. This particular project he did is called Belonging. Uh, Now, this project is photographers. I mean, Dev Shubho's elderly unmarried aunts, Swati and Gayatri Goswami. They led socially isolated lives due to the discrimination they face based on their skin color. They have been further isolated from their surroundings during the lockdown. His personal visual study shows the sisters growing depend. Sorry, the yeah, the sisters growing dependency on each other and the impact of isolation on their mental health. So this is another very heartwarming project he did, Dipshudo did, which which is very, I think, very beautifully portrayed. Um, this picture is his mother and his aunt. We can see a diptych, which is uh, from which is a childhood pictures of his mother and aunt, and now this on the right we see the current picture. So yes, so this is another very heartwarming project he did, and the beautiful pictures that he the portrayed, beautiful and warm relationship between the two sisters, and also the photographer, the connection that he established with them. So yes, this is another heartwarming project. Okay, so this picture is basic. My project is from my project Healing. Uh, we can see my father here and a dead fish on the left. Um, Now, healing is a project which I never thought would ever exist, but it happened during the lockdown. I documented my mother's journey from when she was in 2014. She was detected with colon cancer, and I documented the journey of like throughout how about my family, my father, my sister, my grandmother, and now, as I said, this emotion is a very subjective and very it depends on person to person. I'm a very private person, and I have a problem of not being able to express certain emotions the right time. So for me, these pictures that I have taken was basically gathering dust in one corner of my hard disk. I have tried a couple of times, but looking at them felt like an impossibility. Um a month before the lockdown, I decided to try again, but however, it didn't happen. But during the lockdown, I felt that I should give it a try and look at those pictures and see if I can find some, if I can find myself in these pictures. uh, I felt that when I sat with these pictures, I felt that I had denied myself from feeling for all these years. I lived those days again. For of course, it was not a smooth task. I could not sit with these memories for long stretches, but something inside me was breaking open. Um, Now, this picture is my father, who's sitting outside Operation Theatre in the waiting room. He was devastated. He was clueless. He was a lot of uncertainty was there. Was basically he was a very you know a charming man. He led his life with he was a very romantic person as well. But however, I have never seen my father this way. I have never seen him so broken. He has always been so strong. Um, so my father basically he went through the anxiety. I have seen my father when he went through the anxiety of losing his beloved wife. He braced himself to lose all his life savings to avail the best treatment for his wife. Um, but obviously, uh, he was fighting against the most the dangerous disease or the ailment we ever know, cancer. So here in this picture, this is basically a metaphor I have used with the dead fish, uh, where my father was, where I try to portray that uncertainty uh, in my father's, expressions while sitting outside the operation theater. This picture is again very emotional for me. Even looking at this picture can uh, bring tears in my eyes sometimes. This is of my mother and his mother in the right, and on the left we can see little kittens feeding their uh, with their mother. Now, why this picture is for me is emotional, or anybody who would look at this picture can get emotional because of the love between the two. uh, we can see the diptychs here, the love that it portrays. My grandmother, I it was very difficult for any mother to lose her child so uh, so early, or maybe it not any mother would not be able to see their child suffer. And this is the basically my this is something came as a shock for my grandmother when she learned that uh, probably my mother has very few days left to live. So she tried to come to visit her every day almost, to at least try to look at her, even if that is the last day. So I would like to read something from what I've written for her. I had to see my 86-year-old grandma go through the pain of losing her only daughter, her youngest child. She faced a life of poverty and patriarchy to bring up her four children against all odds. She was always more concerned about my mother and her deeply sensitive nature. She has doubts whether she did enough to save her precious girl. She goes in front of my mother's picture and quietly stands, gazing at her daughter's face, sometimes for minutes, as if trying to remember. She talks in her sleep, and I sometimes overhear her scolding her young bully, her child, for wetting the bed again, for going alone in the dark. So I gave the name Healing to this project because for me, I have, I was trying to heal myself from the, you may say, the disease of not being able to express. I try to express my emotions through these pictures, through this project. Okay, so this is my presentation for you. I hope to see some amazing entries now. Uh, so, yes, all the best.